Tonight on The Local Live, Shelley Mayer has won the 37th state Senate district seat. Governor Cuomo looks to protect New Yorkers from federal tax increases. Boy Scout Troop 2 celebrates 100 years of service. And in tonight's roundtable, we speak to Mamaroneck School Superintendent Dr. Robert Chaps. Good evening, it's Thursday, April 26th. I'm Kat Galliano and welcome to The Local Live. Tuesday, April 24th special election will send Democratic Assemblywoman Shelley Mayer to the New York State Senate to represent the 37th district. According to unofficial results, Mayer got 57% of the vote, while her Republican opponent, Julie Killian, received 43%. Mayer's victory gives the Democrats a majority with 32 out of 63 seats, but the Republicans retain control with the help of Democrat Simcha Felder, who says he will caucus with them for now. Also, Mayer will have to run again in November to keep her seat. Governor Andrew Cuomo signed a bill on tax day last week looking to allow New Yorkers to get around new federal limits on deductibility of state and local taxes. The governor estimates the bill could help residents avoid $1.5 billion in additional New York State taxes brought upon by the new federal rules.
We'll go to the court system. We pass this law, which does everything it can to circumvent it. But we have to get it repealed, and we have to get it repealed in November. It is not just a question of politics, because this affects not just Democrats. It affects Democrats, Republicans, independents, short people, tall people. I don't care. Your taxes go up. And that is repugnant to everything we have done. And it's a misuse of government power.
Westchester County currently has the highest property taxes in America, averaging more than $16,000 a year per resident. Once unlimited, now deductions for state and local taxes cap at $10,000. Cuomo is looking to get around the federal limits with new programs for deductible charitable contributions in lieu of property taxes and other schemes. He has the support of local officials, including Westchester County Executive George Latimer, who thanked Cuomo for his, quote, creative plan. Boy Scout Troop 2 is celebrating 100 years of serving the community. The group was honored with a proclamation at the Mamaroneck Village Board of Trustees meeting on Monday.
Whereas, since its founding in 1910, the Boy Scouts of America endeavor to instill in young men the values of ethics, leadership, and appreciation of our natural environment, service to the community, and citizenship. Mamaroneck Boy Scout Troop 2 has been a staple in our community, helping to shape the lives of young men who have grown up to be leaders in our community and beyond. Troop 2 empowers boys and prepares them for a successful future while enabling confidence and camaraderie. Now, therefore, I, Thomas A. Murphy, Village of Mamaroneck Mayor, on behalf of the residents of the Village of Mamaroneck, recognize and congratulate Mamaroneck Boy Scout Troop 2 for their century of service to the community, and thank the past, present, future members and volunteers for the leadership they have displayed and the outgoing commitment to the community. Thank you, gentlemen. P.S. Every Thursday is free ice cream day for Scouts. No, I'm just kidding.
Boy Scout Troop 2 is also getting fundraising help from local restaurants, Sedona Tap House, which offers an 8-ounce Black Angus flat iron steak for only $6 all day, every Monday, with proceeds going to a different cause each month. You can enjoy a steak in support of the Scouts one last time this upcoming Monday, April 30th. After several public hearings and comments on a proposed local law regarding membership clubs in the Marine Recreation District, the Mamaroneck Village Board of Trustees and its attorney have decided to go back to the drawing board to come up with a new proposal.
This law basically clarifies, the intent of this law is to clarify the regulations requiring, involving membership clubs in two respects. First, the definition of the term membership club, and second, the distinction between member and non-member events. As a result of the public hearing that was held 2 weeks ago, the residents of the village and representatives of the clubs brought up a number of issues with regard to the draft, as has happened regularly in this process. And what I've attempted to do is respond in this memo to the issues that were raised. There's an awful lot of them. I don't know if you want me to go through all of them, but there's an awful lot of responses in here. And I've suggested some potential changes to the law the board may want to consider in order to respond to those aspects of the comments that, in my mind, suggest the need for a change.
The Mamaroneck Board of Education has adopted a budget for the next school year. The spending plan will cost the average homeowner an extra $111. Since the tax levy exceeds the allowable cap, voters must approve the plan by a supermajority of 60% or more. The vote is on May 15. Mamaroneck School Superintendent Dr. Robert Chaps visited the Local Live to talk with Mike Witch.
Welcome to the Local Live and to LMC TV.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here.
I just want to say right off the bat that I am a retired MHS teacher, full disclosure, and that this segment is not a call-in. So I'll ask the questions. Hopefully you'll stay tuned and listen to the answers. We're so happy that you're with us to answer some questions. And also the viewers should know that LMC TV records all of the district meetings and has them archived and available online. And also, you have your full budget book, all 97 pages of it online for those who want the details.
Absolutely. I think we, as a school system, certainly the board, committed to transparency, to ensuring that our community members are well informed about our budget so that they can make a good decision about our budget vote and the election for Board of Trustees.
That vote is on May 15th. It's about 3 weeks away from now. So what do you want the community to know when they go to the polls?
I think it's important to know two things. One, our interest is always to maintain and invest in the quality of our public school systems. We know as a community that the quality of our schools, reputation of that experience is critically important to the broader community. That being said, the storyline or the tagline for this year's budget continues to be enrollment growth, that we have, as a community, experienced what I would say consistent enrollment growth for the last 3 years.
And that's not typical of most districts.
No, it's atypical. As a matter of fact, as a school system in the last 7 years, we've increased our enrollment by 13%. That's equivalent to about 650 additional students, which I remind community members it's like adding or building one additional elementary school, which is incredible. Most area schools in Westchester County are seeing a steady decline in student population. So we must be doing something right. That being said, it is something that we're concerned about and have been because of the pressure it puts on our operating budgets. And so we have been kind of, in many ways, trying to tell the enrollment story relative to our requests for additional staffing in this budget.
This budget it shows some efficiencies. You've saved some money, but you've also increased expenditures about 2.8% over this year, the proposed budget that is, and the tax levy 3.9%. It does exceed the state cap, so it's going to require a supermajority or 60% of the voters. And that happened as well last year.
Yes, I think, it's interesting, Mike. One of the things I've talked about to various community members and organizations is the arbitrary nature of the living under the tax levy limit law. that in our case, for several years, our ability to grow the levy based on the formula, the inner workings of the formula, has been somewhat limited. Matter of fact, so much so that up until last year, we were able to stay under the cap, well below, and have minimal increases to our annual operating budget. I think, as I suggested, last year with the enrollment pressures and growth and limitations of the cap, and then again this year, we felt it was critically important to, again, to invest in staffing that is primarily the cost drivers for going over for an override for a second year. What's a little bit concerning in all of this is that enrollment growth is really not factored into the formula, both for the tax levy growth as well as state aid. And so I think it's important, we've said this on many occasions in our meetings, that there are a number of districts in Westchester that have declining enrollment, but that are growing their levy well beyond the 3.87 that we are, in the range of 4 to 5%. But because of the way the cap works, the formula, are still under the allowable cap limit, which makes no sense to us. And so we're trying to really focus and educate the community members to say, what's in this budget? How do we kind of look at efficiencies, as you mentioned, and find savings, at the same time invest wisely across the board?
So because we're going over the cap, there's no reason for alarm. It doesn't mean that our spending is sort of out of normal and out of control, anything like that.
Right. What's interesting is that I would challenge any citizens to say, over a 7-year period compared to any other time in the history, what has our budget-to-budget growth been, our tax levy growth been, because it's been, I would say, minimal relative to other factors. But more importantly, it's interesting, our per pupil expenditures have remained flat, or in some cases decreased, relative to certainly the area, which says we are being much more efficient in how we use taxpayer money to support the quality of our schools. But it's also a function of the percentage of growth of our annual enrollment versus how much the budget is growing.
Yeah. One of the items that you identified as an ongoing trend in one of the publications I read in general and special education is more support and programs dealing with students who have emotional difficulties or psychological evaluations needed for some students. Is that something across the state that you see?
I would say so, yes. I mean, it's interesting, we've noticed that at all levels now that we are trying to meet the needs of students who present in various ways relative to, behavior, emotional, I would say, issues. And being able to develop programs that meet their needs as very young learners. But that is consistent in terms of what's happening in the state, or so I would say nationally as well. We've created a program in this current budget, for example, at the high school level, an innovative program that we're very proud of, to help students who have, for the most part, been struggling with school avoidance, emotional issues, anxiety, for many years, who've now been attending school regularly. And so where normally we would be educating them outside the district or at home, they're coming to school every day.
At extra expense.
At extra expense, considerable extra expense. They are attending school regularly. They're getting the support for their, what I'd say is day-to-day emotional challenges. They're doing great academic work, and they're building a strong community. So I think it's that point of innovation and efficiency and meeting the needs of a range of learners that really is important to us.
You point to a number of program goals in the 2018-19 budget. One of them is the science curriculum to conform to the New York State science learning standards?
Yes. So nationally, and I would say equally in New York State, there's been a transformation of thinking about science education. And so we have begun a multi-year effort to start to develop new units of study and in both the elementary, middle school, and high school to meet our obligation for these new curriculum standards. We are so fortunate to be situated in a community that has a number of learning environments outside the brick and mortar of our schools. So the Marine Science Center, the Sheldrake, Environmental Center are places where students are really doing science in the real environment. This year alone, we'll have 188 classroom visits to Sheldrake, which is remarkable because it is taking those new standards and building units that allow students to focus on the real work of science.
So in addition to maintaining those alliances, those programs, you've also listed increasing enrollment in courses like music and world language and phys ed and art.
I'm so glad you brought that up, Mike. I think it's phenomenal that as a public school system, 85% of all 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders play an instrument, whether it's a string or band instrument. That's over 1,100 students in the elementary grades. We are very proud of the breadth of programs, but also the quality of experience for our students. Our performing arts programs, our fine arts programs. We have over 12% of our high school students enrolled in computer science and robotics. In a few weeks, our underwater robotics team is going to travel back to Cape Cod, where they were named last year the Rookie Team of the Year to compete against MIT and other schools. And so the diversity of educational opportunity to learn is really what's built into this budget.
You also mentioned about resizing the faculty. I mean, you're adding almost 21 faculty positions in this budget, and resizing, what does that mean?
I would actually, it's right sizing, and that is, so for several years, and I'll give you a few examples, we have seen unprecedented growth. So the Homix Middle School has gone in 2 years from 1,150 students to over 1,300 students. And with our next year's 4th grade of 485 students, we anticipate in 2 years that it's going to grow well close to 1,400 students. Similarly, the high school was 1,450 students a few years ago. It's over 1,600 students that will continue to grow. So right-sizing or investing in those 20.9 position is really anticipating our staffing needs over the next several years that we have really ignored in some ways the limitations of the ability to grow the budget that we no longer can kind of work around. That is, at this point, what we said to the public is, if we don't add staff, our class sizes, our favorable class size will increase significantly. So how do we maintain favorable class sizes and expectations of our families and our community? And to do that, we are investing in additional staff. So we're adding a team at the middle school as an anticipation of the growth there. We are adding additional teaching positions at the high school to anticipate course selection and needs there. We're adding special ed teachers across the system because, as you've alluded to, we see a growing population of students and programs that are required to service students. And then finally, all the, I would say, electives and special programs, art, music, PE, health, that as you have more students and those are requirements, we need to add that staff as well. And then finally, the elementary piece. So the biggest challenge, Mike, is getting back to this idea of enrollment. It's system enrollment challenges, the pressures at the elementary, middle, and high school, not just one area of the district.
Okay, if this budget is not approved by 60%, do we go to last year's budget or a contingency budget? And make the answer quick because I'm getting a wrap-up sign here.
A wrap-up already. So yes, we have the opportunity, if this budget is defeated, for a second vote. We would decide whether to go under the cap, above the cap, present the same budget. If that second budget vote was defeated, it automatically goes to a contingency budget. The difference there is a contingency budget, we would have to eliminate $5 million, which is equivalent to 50 teachers' positions. If to get under the cap, we would have to reduce the budget by $1.5 million, or about 20 teachers. So it's significant.
There's a lot at risk.
Absolutely.
The vote is on May 15th at 7 to 9 in your local elementary schools.
Yes.
And people will be voting on the budget. By the way, how do they register?
They can go to the district clerk and to pick up an application. I would say that you can go to our website for information on that. We also are certainly are mindful of absentee ballots, knowing that people have busy lives and want them to participate in the democratic process. We know how important that is.
Okay, and Dr. Robert Chaps, thank you for coming.
My pleasure. I'm just getting started.
You can come back anytime and talk more about the budget.
Thanks.
Stay tuned for more of The Local Live.
I'm a reporter, I'm a producer, I'm a writer.
I am a news anchor, I am a producer.
I am a news editor.
I am the technical director.
I am a reporter. I am an anchor.
I volunteer for the Local Live because I'm a proud resident of Larchmont and Mamaroneck, and I like to give back to the community.
I volunteer for the Local Live because I believe in bringing the news into your living room.
I volunteer for the Local Live because I believe in leadership, support, and success in a community.
I volunteer at the Local Live because it's a fun learning experience, and I know each week I come, I can learn something new.
I volunteer for the Local Live because I believe in community television.
As a spring intern at the Local Live, I learned new skills like video, editing, and production, and furthered my skills as a writer. The internship gave me confidence as I embarked on my journey through the world of journalism.
We are the Local Live.
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 And this week in sports, the Mamaroneck boys lacrosse team played host to longtime rival Mayapack. Junior Will Martin got the Tigers off to a great start by scoring a hat trick in the first quarter alone in the LMC Varsity Sports Play of the Week.
Gets back up as the Mayapack defender goes down, and it's a goal! Tigers.
As they tie it at 1, nice pass, Tom Conley to Will Martin, and the Tigers have tied it at 1.
Tigers first goal, assisted by the man with the ball right now, Conley. Back to Martin, and Martin scores.
Catching
Argila out of position, so Martin scored again. Conley assisted again. 2 assists for Conley, 2 goals for Will Martin, and it's 2-1 Tigers. In the power play, the man advantage is over, and Martin with the scoop goal, hat trick, first half. 3 goals for Martin. And it's 4-1 Tigers.
Last Friday, we celebrated our ribbon cutting ceremony at the new LMC TV studio. Here we have the highlights from the event.
Tonight, you're witnessing what we feel is a very big step in our journey. But we can't get there alone. We look to you, our artists, creators, communicators, citizens, friends, to decide that next step. As we launch into this new chapter, our goal is to become a community media center, one where community and creativity come together. This is a place where all are welcome, all ideas and voices are heard, and most important, where we can build community through media.
Welcome to our new space. We are now located in 3 suites on the 3rd floor of the Mamaroneck Town Center at 740 West Boston Post Road.
Congratulations to LMC TV for creating these very beautiful offices on the 3rd floor of the town center. I'm jealous because the view is way better than my view. But congratulations, and Matt, you're doing a great job. Thank you.
This is one step in our goal to greater enhancement, greater visibility, and greater coverage of the community.
I had an opportunity a few days ago to be interviewed by WABC Channel 7, and one of the assistants that was there had a big smile, and she says, I used to work at LMC TV. And I wish I remembered to catch the name, but it was really terrific because that's what this is. In addition to what it projects out and shows in the community, it's also a great place for young people to learn this industry and become very successful at it. So in the words of Dire Straits from the famous song Money for Nothing, I want my LMC TV.
Provide a great service for our community. I mean, we're really lucky to have the ability, first of all, as governments, to get our meetings out, get our message out to the constituency. People get to stay home and they don't have to come into Village Hall and watch us. And also for all the local news and events that you're covering, and I love the fact that you're coming out to more and more events and working more in the community, and it's a lot of fun, and it's great service. Thanks.
The Village of Mamaroneck is probably the biggest user and the greatest beneficiary of LMC TV. monopolize your airtime more than anybody else, and we appreciate it. You unite us and you inform us, and there's so few outlets to reach people, and there's so there's a dearth of media in this area, and if it wasn't for LMC TV, people wouldn't know what's going on.
You can help us complete our new studio by buying a piece of our mural made by local artist Jamie Lynn Weisinger from MADE, My Art and Design Experience. Make your contributions at www.lmctv.org. Curious about what Christian Science is, Mike Witch sat down with Carol Aiken from First Church of Christ Science in Mamaroneck to find out more about a talk this Friday, April 27th at 7:30 p.m. at the VFW in Larchmont.
Carol Aiken.
Yes.
People have seen a poster up around town. You've got one in your hand there.
Yes, I have.
This is a special lecture by Nate Frederick?
Yes, this is a very special lecture. He is coming to talk about how to learn to pray and to heal. And that is basically the foundation of Christian Science, it's learning to a sense of prayer in a very different way that more closely approximates what Jesus' approach to healing was.
And this lecture is open to the public and it's free?
Absolutely, open to the public and free.
And it's Friday?
Friday.
Where?
It's Friday, April 27th in the Senior Center, VFW, at 1288 Boston Post Road in Larchmont.
Okay, and we happen to have found a video clip of Mr. Frederick delivering a similar lecture earlier in a different city.
Sure.
Take a look.
Okay.
Now, we live in an age where, we have technology and medical science, and a lot of people are wondering, does prayer still fit in? Can I pray for physical problems in life and really find healing? Is it safe? Do I need to combine it with medical means to get the best results? Well, for more than 100 years now, Christian scientists around the world have been practicing this form of spiritual health care and finding wonderful results, meeting all of their health needs.
Carol, is Christian Science all about healing?
Christian Science is all about healing. It's also about growing spiritually, and that's all part of the process. And Nate Frederick is going to explain a little bit about that it is part of the sense of our spiritual growth brings what needs to be changed in our thought, in our consciousness, much of which even doctors are finding out is causing from stress and whatever, causing our physical illnesses. And it goes beyond that too, but yes, definitely prayer is definitely connected to spiritual healing, and it gets our thought in a very different frame of mind. Closer to God is the whole point, is just learning more about God and therefore learning more about who we are.
And can anybody come?
Anybody can come, yes.
And it's free?
Community is invited and it's free,
and
yes.
It's at the VFW Hall?
It's at the Senior Center, VFW Hall, in 1288 Boston Post Road in Larchmont, New York. And we're hoping everybody will be there.
And we're going to let Mr. Frederick have the last word.
I hope this year you're able to go to a Christian Science lecture and you're able to invite others, because it's really an experience where you get to address the condemnations on healing. What is preventing you from progressing and finding joy and satisfaction in your life? And a Christian Science lecture addresses that and gives one the right notion of life or God to move forward progressively and beautifully.
On Monday, April 23rd, the Mamaroneck School District announced the passing of former Superintendent Dr. Paul Freed. He was 67 years old. Freed spent 5 years at Mamaroneck from 2005 to 2010. The district said he was very much appreciated for his work, as he was able to build strong relationships with everybody at Mamaroneck, including students, teachers, and his coworkers. This Saturday, April 28th at 12 p.m., we will have our Reporters Boot Camp, and our workshops will start this summer.
Is your teen interested in film? Then LMC TV's workshop is just for them. Teens write, act, direct, and edit their own films. It's a full filmmaking experience you won't get anywhere else. Our workshop has limited space, so sign your teen up today for a fun, enriching experience. LMC TV, where creativity and community come together.
It's time for Pet of the Week provided by Pet Rescue. Biggie is a 6-year-old tuxedo male. He enjoys being held and having his long hair patted. He loves to be on top of the tall surfaces and he loves to snack. Biggie is comfortable with dogs as well as other cats. His brother Bootsy is available for adoption as well. Let his green eyes and flashy ways hypnotize you. This curious, adorable pup is 10 months old. He is a terrier mixed with a spunky personality. He would do best in a household with other dogs. If you bring him into your house, you'll be clicking your heels saying there's no place like home every time this pooch greets you. For more information on Biggie or Toto, please visit ny-petrescue.org. We're always looking for new volunteers and interns to help produce the newscast, and we love hearing from our viewers. Email comments and inquiries to thelocallive@lmctv.org. Thank you so much for watching The Local Live. I'm Kat Galliano, and we'll see you next week. Good night.